Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my channel. My name is Kimberly. Welcome back if you're a regular. Nice to see you. So, who benefits more from marriage, women or men? So, this video is not a video encouraging people to get married if they're not willing to get married or doesn't really interest them. And it's not to say don't get married either. It is an interesting debate I've been seeing online. I've seen some studies about this topic where basically they're saying that marriage is benefiting men more than women. So the actual marriage, we're not talking about divorce, we're talking about being married and having children, actually. So basically the average family, American family. So according to this survey on Survey Center on American Life, only 32% of women agreed that women are happier married with children than women who are childless and single. Only 32, compared to when the same question was asked about men. Are men happier married with children? There's a big difference. Men in this survey, when asked a question about women, they actually thought that women are happier with children and married. So men's perspective and the women's perspective, completely different. So you can see a difference there. We also saw that married men with children report that they're happier, feel more fulfilled than the men that were childless and unmarried. And for the women, it wasn't matching that much. So there's a big difference. Just with this survey, it shows a lot. And also that women are mostly the ones who initiate divorces. So what is the issue? Is it because people are choosing wrong partners? You guys, I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out because there are common complaints when it comes to unhappiness in marriages. A lot of men who do not want to get married, the first thing they say is that there is nothing that benefits the man in a marriage and I can lose everything.
The consensus from most men in the comments were that women do benefit from marriage through divorce. So they seem to be in agreement that the best part of marriage for women is leaving. If that were true, which it's not, I think that would make my point. Let's go through finances, child custody, and health. Is marriage worth it for women? The benefits mostly go to men. Currently, over 50% of households have a dual income. I read this as women are taking half of their own stuff. In those households, despite a dual income, women are still doing the lion's share of domestic labor and emotional labor. In a divorce, women's income drops on average by 20%. Divorced men see an average of 30% increase in their income. Post-divorce, 20% of women find themselves in poverty compared to 11% of men. Let's talk alimony. Alimony has been gender neutral since 1979. It's the breadwinner who pays. In the 1960s, 25% of men were paying alimony post-divorce. Today, that number is 10%. And I know the math is right here, but I'm going to say it anyway. 90% of marriages end with no alimony whatsoever.
Women, on the other hand, are saying that I am risking a lot being married because we value different things. We see things differently, right? So women are saying that, okay, I'm risking my body. I'm having children with you. I'm risking maybe, you leaving me and then I'm going to be alone with the kids. I did some research and most of these situations, both are working, right? And even if you're a stay-at-home mom, there's a lot that you are investing as a married woman with children. So your time, you're doing most of the household chores, taking care of the household. So that means cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, making sure you have everything that we need at home. Most of these women say that they do that plus have to work full time.
I believe there are many reasons why cishet marriages are on the decline. And I'm not going to talk about all of them. But one thing I do think that has become very present to most women and men is that marriage is a safety net for men, and it creates essentially a village around him to prop him up. And for women, it is a risk. Marriage comes with risk. And the reason I say that, and it's not always the case, there's obviously nuance, but when you get married to a man and tie up your finances with him and have children with him, you take on a level of risk. Because typically, women are the ones who leave the workforce to care for children. Women are the ones whose careers take a back seat to their male counterparts. Women are the ones who are left without financial security when they stay at home with their children. Women incur a risk. They also incur a risk to their mental health, their emotional health, right? When you marry a male partner and he expects you to prop him up and to support him, to carry the mental load, to do all the domestic labor, to prioritize his career, to bear children for him, then you are viewed as a tool to his success. And in like historical cishet relationships, it didn't flow both ways. I think there's tons of marriages where it does, and that's, mine is one of them. But it's not common for everybody to have that type of dynamic.
Getting pregnant, having children, building your family as a working woman can actually make you take a step back in your career. So yeah, this comes back to also the 50-50 thing. A lot of people focus on the money aspect of 50-50. I think a lot of women would accept more 50-50 relationships if like a lot of the mental load, workload, and the relationship actually felt like a 50-50, like we're both putting in our half, you know what I mean? And in different aspects, not just financially. Showing up for your partner, being there for the kids, being the best mother, making sure you're on top of your things in the household. Like, a lot of women would like men to pitch in a bit more in a lot of marriages. Like she said, it's not all marriages. She's saying that her marriage falls both ways. So congrats to her. But it's a common complaint. A lot of people are like, okay, you're not pulling your weight, and it can go both ways, So I can see both arguments here, because a lot of men work really hard on themselves, to build their finances. And a lot of men are more realistic and analytical and really think about the money side of things. Women, they tend to complain a lot that men don't see the work that they do, because let's say in a marriage, the woman does stuff that are maybe unseen to the eye. Women complain that men don't really see the work they put in as like real work, you know what I mean, in the household. The main argument is that men in general benefit more from a marriage, with children. Men are happier than the women in the same situations.
Who is marriage good for? Who's it serving more, men or women?
Now, men. Marriage, being with the kids and kind of with the mum, is just right now still an incredibly important way for men to feel needed, connected, involved, etc. Mm-hmm. Now, that might change, but right now it is pretty clear that they'll do better. And like, if you look at the impact of being married and not married on employment, earnings, health, physical and mental health, life expectancy, huge positive impacts for men, much less so for women. And of course, if we go back, if we went the other way, like you'd say, well, actually women who weren't married were in real trouble economically until recently, right? So like, women used to be economically dependent on men, but men were emotionally dependent on women. And I think we've really done a lot on the first half of that, and it's kind of revealing the second part, the fact that actually wifeless men, partnerless men, childless men, they don't do so well.
I'm never going to get married. I don't want to get married.
Why?
There's no benefit for the man. He only has everything to lose.
Oh dear, where do we begin with this one? Firstly, I am not doing this video to convince people to get married. I know this is going to create a lot of back and forth. And I'll even go as far as to say that in the video that I've stitched, what he does say is very true, which is that if you're not okay with being alone, then you're not okay with yourself. That I do completely agree with. The only thing that I don't agree with is this idea that getting married has no benefit for the man. Because once again, it's coming back to that mindset of a business aspect where there's nothing to gain from a man, based on the fact that if a divorce was to occur, he would potentially lose a lot more. And if you're even going into marriage, or the idea of marriage, with the belief that you could lose everything, then that just means maybe marriage isn't for you, which is also okay. And to some people, marriage is the one thing that can actually prove to a woman that the man is invested fully, because of the fact that there is so much that, yes, you could lose, and you're not willing to let that overshadow how strong you think the relationship is between the two of you.
Very interesting. I think there's a lot to talk about here. What do you guys think in the comments? Let me know if you're married or not, if you want to get married, or what is scaring you about marriage, what isn't scaring you about marriage, what will reassure you in a marriage. I'm interested to know. I think what can really help is having these hard conversations like way before committing to a marriage or to even live together, because yeah, of course it's not a fun subject to talk about, like, okay, like finances and like who's gonna stay at home, who's gonna take care of the kids, who's gonna, like, how are we gonna share the workload at home, is it, all these things are very serious. And I feel like before marriage, everything is just so like, woo, like we're just focused on, the connection we have, me and you, the love that we have for each other. But then also, living with someone is serious, and like things can go very downhill when you move in with someone. You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of things can be discussed at first, but also you can never know exactly what's gonna go down once you move in, once you live with someone, once you're married. In the end, we all have to do our best. We have to do our best. We have to make sure we're good with ourselves. I think that's one main thing. And yeah, just be vocal on your wants and needs in life. Like, what do you really want in a partner, in a lifestyle, and see if the person matches that. And honestly, I think that would help a lot to reduce divorce rates. And that's all I gotta say. Let me know what you think, guys. See you guys later. Bye.